But in terms of just general approaches, I think it's important to, as with anything, understand like what does the competitive set look like? What does the field look like? If you are a startup and you're applying for a federal program, you need to understand that you are one of potentially thousands of applicants. And if you want to do that, you should absolutely find somebody to reach out to, maybe hop on a call with, or at the bare minimum, send an email to and say, hey, look, I want to apply to this. This is what I'm doing. Am I a good candidate? Can I ask you some questions? And it may save you some time. It also may put a face to a name when you're applying, which always helps. I typically recommend to actually lean away from federal funding unless you're kind of in those spaces. If you're doing some crazy research in the hardware space, or let's face it, or in the defense space, you already have a partnership with a established university's lab, something like that, then yeah, go for it. Otherwise, definitely look into the world of private foundation funding. This is fantastic. I mean, people think about grants as a federal thing, but it's only a little bit over half. I think it's about 65% of funding that's out there. There's over $300 billion each year in the US that is distributed through state and local governments, through private foundations, through corporate foundations, you name it. And these are oftentimes much more niche, much less competitive, but still just as rewarding. And you can actually, if you do the work or use the platform, you can find a funder that may be specifically focusing on the problem that you're trying to address. And all it is an email away from someone who may give you recurring funding. And it may not be a 200-hour long application like you'd find in federal, and it may not be 1,000 other applicants. You may be one of only a dozen or two. And so I highly recommend that. I could talk about this all day, but I'll give just like a couple of other tips and tricks. Yeah, the big one beyond that research, and again, we handle that for you, so it's no problem. When it comes to applications, understanding that it's not just telling your story, right? You need to really do some time ahead of, to like take a look at who you are, your identity, like understand, what are you representing, and understand how that story should be crafted to be best understood, and how that meaning can be conveyed. But understand that it's not just narrative. Grants were narrative based maybe 10 years ago, but now that story needs to be backed up by data. Having the data to support what you're doing, having the data to clearly communicate, how are these dollars being turned into impact? How is that something that you've done before, measured it, and can go out, repeat it, and scale it? And having a little bit of rigor, being a little bit sophisticated there is key. And making sure that the budget that you're putting together for this proposal aligns with that story or tells that story as well. Not to mention is something that you will actually execute on, as you will need to have to report on a regular cadence that you are kind of spending money the way you said you would.